Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Yes, I am ready. And good evening to everybody here. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Libby, for arranging, and Hanetka for all this great effort that you put into keeping our class together. Because really, there's no greater strength than B'cheinu Avinu Kulanu Ke'echad, and we definitely feel the echad when we get together. So I just want to say a little bit, starting from this last past Shabbos that we had. There were three, it was a special Shabbos because it was Rosh Chodesh Adar. It was also Parsha Shkolim, and it was also Parshas Truma. And these three inyanim are all very different, but they all are very, very, important to us in our lives. And let me just, explore a little bit some of that. First of all, Mishenichnas Adamar b'Simcha. So everybody knows that saying, but which means obviously that Adar is a month of joy, tremendous joy. And the fact of the matter is that Adar itself, I heard this also, in some places, that Adar is Moloshin Adir. Adir b'maram Hashem. The word Adir is strength, like vigor. So the Rebbe talks about that this month of Adar is supposed to, infuse us with a new vigor in our chayas and avodas Hashem. That whatever we do, it should be with extra, chizuk. So, that's first of all to know that the Chodesh of Adar has that ability to really give more strength to our avodah. And obviously, this is really all connected to Simcha, because the idea is that our avodas Hashem always has to be with Simcha, with Chayis. So the only way to really, really accomplish that is if we do our avodah with strength, with enthusiasm, and that's something that Chodesh Adar really is very, very special about. Adar is also the letters Adar, Aleph, Dalet, Resh. You could say it's Aleph, Dar. All right, Aleph means Aleph is the Eibishter, Alufa Shalaylam. Dar means dwell. So this in this month also that the idea concept of having the more the again the avoid of Simcha is there only when you feel that the Eibishter is part of your life in every part of your life. That's really what true Simcha is, that when you don't feel that you're alone and you don't feel that you're that you're detached, disconnected, but that in every part of our lives we see the Aleph. You see the Aleph in every part of our life. That's really the only way to really bring Simcha into our avodas Hashem. So it's through Simcha, through strength, that we're able to bring more of our chayas and avodas Hashem in this month. That's what's Rosh Chodesh Adar. Also, it says Mishenichna. It says Kashem Shenichnas. It says of. Just like when Chodesh Av Ma'atim b'Simcha. So it says Kach. It says Chodesh Adar. It says Marbim b'Simcha. So it starts off. The Gemara says Kashem, just like when you are Ma'atim b'Simcha. And Chodesh Av, when you make less Simcha, Chodesh Av, so that's how you're supposed to. Kach marbe b'Simcha. That's when you have to only make more Simcha in Chodesh Adar. And the Rebbe asked the question: why do we have to start with the Av? Why do we have to start with the ma'atim b'Simcha? Let's just say Mishenichnas Adar marbe b'Simcha. Maybe that's the way we usually say it, but it does begin prefaces by saying that just like we make less Simcha in Av, that's how we should make more Simcha in Chodesh Adar. And the Rebbe explains something very true, that emesa Simcha, real joy, is really only appreciated after, if you could say, there's a period of maybe darkness, or which is the opposite of Simcha, Mematim b'Simcha, like in Chodesh Adar, when there are things that are challenging us, and when there are things that feel that it's like, the opposite of of Hashem's kindness. So it says that once you see that happens, then you could imagine that the joy that comes after that is so much greater. It's called Yisra Na'ar Min HaChoshech. How much more so the light is greater after it comes from the Choshech. So that's something that we see in the pasuk, where the the Gemara says that really to appreciate Simcha, sometimes you have to go through the Schwierigkeit and the darkness and the challenges. And unfortunately, we've had more than enough of that. So that the Simcha that we talk about that comes after it is even so much more greater. And that's why we also have the Chodesh of Adar. We have after the Gezerah of Haman, which was lahashmid chalila, lahashmid laharag laabe, to destroy the Yidden. So what happens? We have a month. We have the Yontif of Purim, which is Adala Yada. The Adala Yada is like a kind of simcha that surpasses all boundaries. But that could only happen. That's what we're saying. That could only happen and be appreciated only after there is Rahman al-Islam, something that was a gezerah, like the gezerah of Haman. So that's something that I wanted to mention about the Chodesh, Rosh Chodesh Adar, that this is the month that we have, but we Bari Mazla, that it's a month of good luck and then good things, good tidings and good news, and all good things should happen, and it should be right now. And certainly the Chodesh of Adar is like Eis Gula. It's a month that this is the right time for good things to happen, for happiness to be. Then I also wanted to talk about Parsha Shkolim, because that was also something that we, had on, last week's Shabbos. We read from the Parsha Kisisa, the part where it talks about the Shkolim. And we know that every single year on Rosh Chodesh Adar, they would be machriz, they would announce that Shkolim have to be given to the Beis HaMikdash, so that from that money, they would purchase then karbanos starting from Rosh Chodesh Nisan. So what is the whole idea of Parsha Shkolim, and why is it we make such a big deal about it? So I just want to share with you, maybe I'll read some of the words of the Rebbe Sicha in Shabbos Mavarach Chodesh Adar, which is Tafshin Yud Aleph. It was a very, very fascinating Sicha, where the Rebbe says that, the way the Rebbe expresses it, even that it's a modne medrash. For the Rebbe to say something modne, in Yiddish we know what modne means, right? It's a strange, it's a little bit bizarre. The modne medrash, what could be so modne about a medrash? Let's find out. So what happens? The Rebbe says that there's a medrash that says that by Parsha Shkolim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm just going to read a few lines. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, Rebbeinu Shalom, Mishani Meis, when I die, Einani Niskar. How will I be mentioned? Where will I be mentioned? Eini Niskar. I'm not going to be mentioned. Amal HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Eibush said to him, Hayecha Kashem Shata Omed Achshav. Moshe Rabbeinu, just like you are now standing, and Noiselam Parsha Shkolim, and you're telling them about Parsha Shkolim, at the Zekev Es Russian, and with giving them Parsha Shkolim, you are lifting up. Zekev means that you're making them stand up. You're uplifting them. Every single year that they will be reading Parsha Shkolim, you will kill at the Omed. It will be like you're standing there, Ba'is It will be like you're standing there, Mamash Azavi, you were doing in your lifetime. Then Zakev is Rishon, and you're lifting up their heads. Minayim, Mimasha Karo, Be'inyan, because it says, Vaidab Hashem Moshe Lemar, Ki Tisa es Rosh, because it says you should lift up the heads. Tisa, it really is talking about counting, but Tisa also, the meaning of Tisa is lift up, just like, it talks about the counting. It says you will lift up their heads. Salo nemar ela kitisa. So it should have said so. So is a command. Lift them up. What does it say? Kitisa. Tisa is a lashon of asid, future. So here's what the Medrash is saying. Moshe Rabbeinu was concerned. What's going to be after his passing? Who's going to remind them about Parsha Shkolim? And the question that Rebbe says, why mitamol Parsha Shkolim? What was so like, if you want to say worrying, what was so worrisome to Moshe Rabbeinu that when he's not there, or after Lachar Meah, that he's not going to be able to do or to announce or to carry out the Inyan, the Tzivoy of Parsha Shkolim with them? Why Dafka Parsha Shkolim? And what is Rebbe Shter's answer? Tisa, Moshe Rabbeinu, there's not going to be any change. Just like you are standing now and you're counting them, and counting here means lifting them up, Zakev Es Rishon, so too in the future, when you're not here, there's going to be a Moshe Rabbeinu in every single generation that is going to do the job of Moshe Rabbeinu for them, which is to lift them up. So, the Rebbe goes into this. Obviously, this was a Tafshin Yud Aleph. So this is like, the Rebbe's early introduction to us about what a Rebbe is. If we didn't know, the Rebbe had to tell us. So this is one of the things that I find so fascinating in the Sikha, is that the Rebbe is telling him as follows. This is what Moshe Rabbeinu is being told by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this is the Rebbe bringing it to us today, what a Rebbe is for us. that Moshe Rabbeinu is saying to Hashem, you're telling me that that we should bring Parsha Shkolim, we should bring a shekel, machas is a shekel. And one of the reasons for bringing machas is a shekel was, aside from all the other reasons, that it was for karbanos, and it was for the adonim, which is the sockets for the Mishkan, but also it was a kaifer nafshay. It was supposed to redeem them for their sin of the chet ha'egel, a kapara. So the machas is a shekel is a kapara for the chet of chet ha'egel. And the question is, like machas is a shekel and a piece of silver, a piece of coin to what do you call, to clear up, to wipe away the sin of avodah zarah, just doesn't seem to make it. Like, how does that happen, that a machas is a shekel could actually take away, wipe away, and forgive for the sin of avodah zarah? It was something that Moshe Rabbeinu had a very hard time believing, understanding. So what does the Eibusher show Moshe Rabbeinu? He shows him a shekel. A machas is a shekel, a matbeya shel eish. It says in the Chumash that Hashem says in the pasuk, Zeh yitnu. Zeh is like saying, pointing. This exactly here. This is what you're supposed to be giving. And the Rashi says that what is Zeh is a very, very strong, pointing to something that Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu matbeya shel eish. He showed him a fiery point. So how did that help Moshe Rabbeinu understand that machas shekel could be a kaifer nefesh? Hashem said to Moshe Rabbeinu that when we're talking about the essence of every single yid, we know it says about machas is a shekel, that the rich man should not give more than the poor man, and the poor man should not give less than the rich man. Like Oisher lo yarbe and the dal lo yamit. And the question is, why not? Why can't the poor man give less? What's so terrible if he'll give a little? No, it has to be the exact same amount, because when we talk about the inner, whether we're talking about etzem nefesh or the chida of every single person, there's no difference from one person to another. That's why it's machas and shekel all across, the same for everyone. Everyone in the essence, and the inside, and their etzem and neshama, everybody is equal. This one is a little bit, you say ashir, and this one is a dal. Dal means poor. And you say this one is maybe a strong person. This one is a weak person. The weakness and the strength and the money or no money are all, the Rebbe explains, they're all externals. It's like how does the Rebbe put it? These are all, give me a second. These are all kaiches hagloyim hanefesh. This is all like external parts of the person. It's not the etzem, not who he is. Who he is the etzem of his neshama. So what is the machas shekel wants to really emphasize, that this is going to the essence of every single yid. And in the essence of every single yid, we are all equal. And the only one that could really touch the essence of every single yid, mamash, the chida of every single yid, is the Moshe Rabbeinu, which starts with Moshe Rabbeinu. And of course, thereafter, every single Moshe Rabbeinu in every generation. That because Moshe Rabbeinu is the yechida of, the etzem neshama, the yechida sheva nefesh, that's connected to the yechida of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So with that, he is able to touch every single individual yechida, every single person's yechida, and tie it connected to the etzem of the atzmus of the Eibishter. Moshe Rabbeinu's job is to tap into the yechida of every single person, and that yechida then gets connected to Hashem. Who could do that? Only, the Rebbe says, only Moshe Rabbeinu could do that. What was Moshe Rabbeinu's concern? That when he's no longer living, or whatever, after his passing, that who's going to do that? Who is going to take care of my people? Who is going to tap into their neshamas and do the job of a Moshe Rabbeinu to bring them and attach them to the etzem of the Yechidah of HaKadosh Baruch Hu? So Moshe Rabbeinu was really concerned about that. What is the Eibishter's answer to Moshe Rabbeinu? Is that don't worry, Moshe, kitisa, because this is going to happen every single year in the future. There is going to be ispashtusa de Moshe b'chol dara v'dara, and the Rebbe makes it very clear to say ispashtusa doesn't mean here just like it sounds like ispashtusa is just a ray. It's a offshoot. It's like what I mean. It's just a little bit, a piece of it. No, it's the exact same etzem of the neshama of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's the little bit is really all encompassing, and this is really every single Moshe in every generation. Kitisa has the ability to lift up, to tap in to the etzem of every single yid, and to Zeikef Leishon. He lifts up his head. He makes him able to stand up to whatever life's challenge. And also the Rebbe explains here very beautifully that it's not only about Ruchnius, which was really so incredible. The whole sikh is very interesting. Not about only Ruchnius the Kinyonim, that you go to a Rebbe and the Rebbe could help you. And furthermore, the Rebbe explains that, Mekamenin, that, some very good to find Yidden, that, they learn and they daven, and they really, really are very, very geheimene people. But on a Rebbe, no, it doesn't work that way. You still cannot say, you can never say that without the Rebbe, that you could really, really tap into that part of the neshama, which is called Yechidah Shebenefesh. The Rebbe said there are other parts of the neshama, the naran, nefesh, ruach, neshama, v'chai yechida is only through a Rebbe. And the Rebbe then went on further to say, it's not just in matters of ruchnias, but it's also in matters of gashmias. That, when it comes to Pashat Gesundsachen, you think to yourself, like I'm going to a doctor. What does a Rebbe have to do with my, my healing or my health? So also the Rebbe went on to explain that a doctor can give you, prescription, it can give you good advice, but it can never, ever really, he cannot give you chayas. He cannot give you real life. The only one that could really channel, has the kayak to channel life, chayas, emes chayas into your body, into your neshama, is a Rebbe. That's it. Through a Rebbe, you could get all through to the highest and the deepest levels of every single person. And that's, I thought, was a very beautiful point that we could learn, that it's not just that, And the Rebbe says, furthermore, Parsha Shkolim has to be read every single year with the chayis. That's the Matbeya Shel Eish. That if you really want to understand how a person could take like if you tap into his own yechida, so the Rebbe said the avodah has to be through fire, and the idea of fire is simcha. That the only way really, really to achieve that level is if you work through your avodas Hashem. It should be with a fire, and that's another very beautiful thought that comes from here. So that was the Parsha Shkolim that we read this past Shabbos. The idea of giving in the Parsha, which is Parsha Truma and Tetzaveh and Vayakel and Pekudei, is all about the Kalim and building of the Beis Hamikdash. And it's very interesting because we'll start with Parsha's Truma. It says Vayikhu li Truma. Vayikali Truma is that they should give, donations, right? That's what Truma is, about donations. And then, and the Perek and the Psukim and the following Parshias, they all talk about all the different donations and all the different materials that were used to build the Mishkan. Like it says, what is the whole purpose of all this materials? Is also the Mikdash for Shechanti B'Seichem, that I should have a place of dwelling for my Shechina. And it's very interesting because, this is what the Rebbe also says. The Parsha begins with listing all the different types of the materials and all the different, contributions that were given for the Mishkan. It's very important. I understand that, you need your materials, but why not begin with Vasul Mikdash? Let's get to the point. What is the goal? The goal is to make a Mishkan. How do you get there? You need materials to obviously to bring, to the table in order to be able to make all the kalim and so on. But it should have started, that's what the Rebbe said, the Parsha, first of all, should have not been, it's called Truma. It should have been called, Truma is a donation. Call the Parsha Mishkan, call the Parsha Mikdash. Because really, isn't that the goal? Isn't that the whole point? Is so that you should be able to make a Mishkan. And it's interesting. We don't pay attention to the names of the Parshias, but the name Truma alone seems to be like falling short of what really the entire kavana of all the materials was. Now, so the Rebbe explained something very beautiful. That what was the whole idea of all the contributions? So it says Vayikhu li Truma. The idea was that the Eibusha says, it doesn't say vayitnu, that you should give, because that would be the normal, regular word that should be used for giving. But rather, vayikhu, you shall take. So why does the pasuk say, and you shall take the contributions? Because the Torah wants to tell us that really our giving is taking. Our giving is really getting. In other words, we think we're really giving, but in the end is we're really getting more than we give. Because what the Eibusha really is doing for us, he's making us a shutaf, like a partnership in the actual building of the Mishkan. And there's a beautiful little story that I would like to share with you that really illustrates this point very nicely. Stories with the Baal Shem Tov, The Baal Shem Tov was Motzei Shabbos, and there was a woman that came to the shul, and she was crying that she needed 300 ruble. And this is right after Shabbos, so there's no one that's carrying money with them. So, probably the story, the Baal Shem Tov told his Talmidim, put your hands in your pocket. They put their hands in the pocket, and all the Talmidim, each one brought a different chves amount that they found in their pockets. And all together they counted it up, and lo and behold, it was exactly 300 ruble. A story of the Baal Shem Tov, Pile Playim, it's one of those really, amazing, Baal Shem Tov stories. Very nice. The story could end here. But the Hasidim got together and they said, you know what? There was actually 3 nisim that happened here, not one. What were the 3 nisim? 3 nisim. Number one is that the Talmidim who were rearing Big Day Shabbos, they knew that there was nothing in their pockets. So why are they looking in their pockets? You know what I mean? Okay, the Baal Shem Tov said, but still, they listened. They put their hands in their pocket. That was nace number 1. Nace number 2 was that they found money. Hey, that was like, where did that come from? Well, that's another nace. And the third nace, the Talmidim we were discussing was, you know what? The nace that that the Baal Shem Tov made them partners in the miracle. That was like a tremendous nace too, because for the Baal Shem Tov to make a nace, it was like no big story. I mean, it was like that even Mulumit Benisim. That's what the Baal Shem Tov was doing this. But the Baal Shem Tov to find 300 ruble, wherever it came from, it would have to happen. He could have found it anywhere, anytime, anyhow. The Baal Shem Tov, if he wanted to make the candle, the icicles outside that were frozen, if he wanted to turn it into candles, that's what we said. The Baal Shem Tov made the icicles burn into candles. For the Baal Shem Tov, it was no brainer for him to make a miracle. But the fact is that he made them all, the Talmidim, Shutfim, partners in the actual miracle story. So too here, in the story of the Beis Hamikdash and the Mishkan, the Kalim, and with all the necessary materials that were used, the zahav and the kesef and the nachaishes and so on and so forth, and there were listing of 13 different other kind of materials. All that, what the Eibusher wanted to do is Vayikhu. I want you to be a partner with me in taking, in taking the mitzvah, in taking the materials, so that you could be a partner also in this beautiful grand plan of mine to make a Mishkan down here in this world. So the whole idea is that we should take partnership in it. It is us getting more than our giving. And in general, whenever you give tzedakah, we say Yoser Mimasha Balabayis Aisei Ma'ani, Ani Aisei Malabalabayis. In general, in tzedakah, we say that more than the balabayis that the ani does for the balabayis does for the poor man really does for the balabayis. Because the truth of the matter is, it says so somewhere else, it's Miknu Chumash Devarim, Kihiya B'cha Evyon, that you should know that Evyon is a poor man. Kihiya, there should be, when there's an Evyon, no, B'cha. You should know that his money is by you. His money, really, it's you have his money. And why did the Rebbeinu Shalom make it so that you should have the money in your pocket, not in his pocket? That's not we don't know the cheshbon for that. But to think that the money that's in our pocket belongs to us, and that's the opposite of what the Seder Olam is. So really, you're taking more than you're giving. You're getting a schar for it. Not only that, it says v'yichu li. What are you taking? You're taking li. Li is HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself. You're mamash. You're taking the unlimited kayach of the Eibishter through your giving your tzedakah, which we also know that tzedakah, gedolah tzedakah, v'shemakarev says a geula. This is all connected, because the same thing here. They gave the donations for the what? For the building of the Beis Hamikdash. So this concept of giving, whatever it is that we give, is also for the sake of building the third Beis Hamikdash. That's why tzedakah is so much connected to the geula. And I just want to share a nice, like a little vart here, or whatever, story, illustration point, that they used to ask, Sir Montefiore, Moshe Montefiore, who was one of the richest, Yidden living at his time. How much is he worth? How much money is he worth? So he gave him a number. He gave him like for 400,000. I don't know, just made it up. So they said, come on, we know you're worth so much more. Why are you giving us just this number, a small little amount? He says, well, you asked me how much I am worth. Actually, that's the amount I gave to charity. So my worth is really the amount that I give to charity. That's my worth. everything else is, so I have it. It's not mine. But what I'm really worth and what really belongs to me, and what my accomplishment is the amount of charity that I gave. I thought that was a very, very nice idea as well. I would like to go on to one more point that, how am I doing with time? Let me just see for a minute here. Okay. So let me just say one more thing that we found in the Beis Hamikdash, in the building of the Mishkan, which was also quite fascinating. It says that when they came to the Midbar, I mean from Mitzrayim to the Midbar, they actually took with them the trees. It's called Atzei Shittim from Eretz Yisrael. Rashi says it in Tanchuma that they brought the trees that were planted in Eretz Yisrael by whom? By Yaakov Avinu, and they brought it to the Midbar to build them to have the material to build the Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan. So the question is, why did Yaakov Avinu, bring the samplings from Eretz Yisrael? He planted them in Eretz Mitzrayim. For all those years, many years that they were in Golus, the trees were obviously getting bigger and blossoming. And then finally, they were taken with them to the Midbar. Can you imagine the sheer I would say that the energy that they had to, put out just to get trees and then to schlep it, and it almost sounds like, what I mean? It's why bother with it? As a matter of fact, the Rebbe said they could have easily gotten the trees from maybe, they had like these, I would say, these contractors or whatever it was, people that were not in the Midbar, but they were traveling through the Midbar, and they could have sold them the trees, and they could have bought the trees. What was the reason that you had to have it planted by Yaakov Avinu from Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Mitzrayim and then out into the Midbar? So the answer, and it's given by Rabbi Tanchuma. Rabbi Tanchuma is one of the Gedolim, Tanoim that spoke about it. And Rebbe said that the name is very telling because Tanchuma is from the word nechama. That what really was meant to accomplish the trees, planting them in Eretz Mitzrayim, was to bring nechama to the Yidden, because being in Golus, obviously, for so long, you could lose a little bit hope. It almost feels like hopeless. When are we going to get out of here? How are we going to get out of here? Even though you have all the words, the pakadati, you have all these nevuah, and you have a lot of promises and promises. But the Rebbe said you needed something physical, something tangible in front of their eyes that they could see, that with that in front of their eyes, that they know that one day they will be taken out of Mitzrayim. So these are the trees that were planted by Yaakov Avinu, that they knew that because the trees are still here, that this is a sign for sure that they will be going out of Mitzrayim. That was the Rebbe saying that was really for them in a chama to know, and that's why these trees were so special that they had to be taken out with them, and they had to be brought into the Midbar, schlepped into the Midbar, and they had to be used. The Atzei Shittim were used for almost everything. The Atzei Shittim were used for mostly all the kalim, except for the menorah that was all gold. Everything was either wood, and then it was gold plated. You had the Atzei Shittim was for the foundations, for the beams. You have the Atzei Shittim for almost everything that was constructed in the Mishkan. Was you needed to have the wood for that, and those are the wood from Mitzrayim. I mean from Eretz Yisrael to Mitzrayim and into the Midbar that was brought out. So what does the Rebbe want to brings out from this whole point? Of course, first of all, just to know that a tzaddik is compared to a tree. It's a tzaddik hatam yifrach ke'erez balavonan yizgeh. That a tzaddik, the tzaddikim that we know of, the ones that obviously the leaders of Am Yisrael are like this ke'erez balavanan, like this cedar tree. So the Rebbe says here that in every generation, it's like the Eibishter plants trees, plants these great leaders in every generation to be able to guide the Yidden through the Golus and to raise the hope of the Yidden, not to give up. That there will be an end to all this, so to say, madness, and that these trees are there just as a sign post, and that or the tzaddikim are there to really be there to make sure that we don't give up on the promise of Geula. And I wanted to share a beautiful story that for some reason, I think also brings out the point that, the Rebbe is here, and the Rebbe Maftiach, Rebbe Yikayim, that the Rebbe promised, and the Rebbe will be Mekayim, and the Rebbe promised us Geula, and the Rebbe will certainly make sure that Mitzvah Shem, that we will see it, right now here in our lives, and that all the tzaras of the Eden that we are witnessing now should all be like Vanapechu, just like it is by Purim. The story, it was Vanapechu, and it was like complete a Yeshua that was Lamaila from all boundaries. So the story that I wanted to share with you on this is as follows. Like I said, it's a story that you know, but I still think that it fits in here, so I'm going to share it. The story is Rabbi Biston. Rabbi Yossi Biston is a shliach in Florida, and he didn't have children for many years, and he grew up in Borough Park. We know Biston, Rachel, right? If you're listening, and he grew up in Borough Park. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know who's listening. Libby, how many people are listening?
Rachel's on.
I'm here.
That's very nice.
I'm here.
Thank you, Freida.
I'm
And
here.
so he was childless. Correct me if I'm wrong, for a number of years. And his friend from Borough Park, who was very concerned about him, said that decided he was going to go to the Rebbe to ask for a bracha. And there was no Yechidus at that time. So he was going to go wait for the Rebbe to come out of 770. And Rachel, is that you? to go hi. And come out from 7, like I said, you could fill me in. Come out from 770, and the Rebbe, and he would stop the Rebbe to ask for a bracha, which he did. And the Rebbe said, but I already promised him. And then he said, I already gave him a bracha. So he said, I want a haftacha. I want a promise. The Rebbe said, "Wir wollen tanzen auf the kind's chasana." That's what the Rebbe said to him, and that's it. He left, and Baruch Hashem, I understand that we're, children that were born. Zip, fast forward 20 years later, he gets an invitation from Rabbi Biston, from his friend, that he's making chasana for his son. Now, it's been a while, and he hasn't been, really in touch with his chaver. And truth be said, he doesn't have the money, Pasha, to even take the trip to Florida to go to the wedding. So he's not thinking of going to the wedding. Thursday night before the chasana, he has a dream that Rebbe comes to him and says, why aren't you going to your friend's chasana? And it is I don't think he answered at that point. He had the dream second night. Why aren't you going to the Rebbe, to your friend's chasana? He says, because chamish can geld. I don't have the money. The Rebbe said, Chassidim don't rechen sich with geld when it comes to such things. Third time he had the same dream, and then finally the Rebbe said to him, didn't we say that we will be dancing at his chasana? We said, I said that we will tanzen auf sein chasana. In other words, like, you've got to go. It turns out the next day when he came to work, his boss told him that, I think you need a vacation. Here's the money, and go travel to Florida. Here I am. He said to his friend, Rabbi Biston, he said, here I am. And the Rebbe promised that I will be dancing at your child's wedding. And the Rebbe said that he too will be with us in the simcha. So I want to conclude by saying that a Rebbe hiftiach, the Rebbe promises, a Rebbe yikayim. The Rebbe will definitely schlep us out of this golus, and all we have to do is hold on to that haftacha, because it's exactly the way the Rebbe said it's going to happen, and there's no question in our minds. And chazak, chazak. Let's just hold on to all those the beautiful thoughts and words that the Rebbe gave us, and hopefully we'll get to the finish line.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.